Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy far from sun.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses. This is Todd Hoffman and Tret Hoffman, and you're listening to Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 116. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about wrestling, talking some wrestling, a little Star Wars stuff, and just whatever else is top of mind. But yeah, unfortunately, my little buddy Trent cannot be with us today, but he is here in Force Spirit. Please catch us out on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Big T Little T. We are playing some serious Fortnite on there, making our way to level 200. Looking forward to the new season, which is coming up here at the end of September, which is fantastic. Trent is currently in flag football, so we got a game coming up here this Saturday. Super excited for that. So it'll be game 2. Should be fun. It's gonna be a great time. But yeah, our main topic today is wrestling. So Trent and I were able to have a cool opportunity to go see AEW Dynamite, which is, there's basically two players right now. There's WWE and then AEW. And so AEW is founded by Tony Khan, who is the son of... I forget the dad's name, but he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars and a bunch of other different stuff. But Tony is really into wrestling and basically started this company. And it's fantastic. It's great. If you're into sports entertainment, AEW is fantastic. One of the things that I love that it does have a lot of some of the older guys that I used to know back in the day. Depending on how far back in the day you want to go, but they got a lot of good new talent as well, and it's a really rich roster, which is awesome. So there is a Star Wars connection, so shout out to Joe Robinson. I met Joe in the line. Here's a weird separation or whatever, degrees of separation, if you will. So I met Joe in line. Me and Heather went to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. My podcast partner Heather, we went out there and waited in line on Thursday, and we're just sitting in line, waiting to get in. And I met Joe, and Joe is a big Thrawn fan. He had we were talking about what's gonna happen, in the next couple movies and stuff like that, and just really got hit off. It was great. So, and it was the first time he was doing cosplay as Thrawn, and so we got to run into him that weekend. It was great. So, in fact, fast forward a couple years later, had Joe on WSTR, because again, he has this massive Thrawn collection. He's a really big collector, loves Darth Maul, loves Transformers, real nice guy from New York, So, kids go to school, or first day of school, I take pictures, and I got my Sting shirt on, which Sting is now, old WCW guy, now he's at AEW, and so anyways, wearing that when the kids take pictures for first day of school, and Joe's like, hey, are you a wrestling fan? I'm like, yeah, and he's like, you like AEW? I'm like, yep, and check, and he's like, well, I bought a 3-pack because All Out, which was the pay-per-view that AEW was coming up, is always around Labor Day in Chicago, and he bought a 3-pack, but he's not coming until Friday. Would I want Wednesday tickets? And I was like, absolutely. So shout out to Joe. Thank you so much. It was Trent's first wrestling event, which was great. So we got to experience that on the day Andor was supposed to come out, August 31st. But yeah, it was super, super cool. So we went to see AEW Dynamite. Great stuff there. And we got to see, let's see, I'm trying to think who was there. We saw Will Ospreay and Aussie Open versus Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. This is Kenny Omega is coming back, which is awesome. We got to hear from Jon Moxley, who had the belt, which was awesome. And then Tony Storm versus Shida versus Britt Baker and Hayter. And then we had Jake Hager and Bryan Danielson, which was a fantastic matchup. And then we had a cool kind of, there was Utah, Martin, Phoenix, and Rush had this awesome kind of 4-way belt kind of match, and it was fantastic. It was great. And one of the surprises, we got to see CM Punk. So CM Punk kind of comes out and works the mic, and it's fantastic. You're like, oh, this guy's retiring. He's like, yeah, because he just lost the belt in Cleveland. Moxley has it, and just like, oh. And he's kind of getting down to the point of like, yeah, I think maybe I need to just kind of take a break. And then so here's kind of the weird thing. At the beginning of the show, he's like, I got an open contract here. This is what Jon Moxley's saying. And then this guy, Ace Steel, comes out and walks out and grabs the contract. And basically from from a live perspective, we don't really know, didn't really get a good look at like who grabbed it, but on the TV, it's Jim Ross says he's friends with Punk, so anyways, we got some, it's all gearing up towards the pay-per-view. As any wrestling promotion, they're going to push the pay-per-view and stuff like that. We got to see Punk come out, and so it got to a point where Punk is basically like, Ace comes out, this guy that grabbed the contract earlier, and he's like, hey, this is not what we talked about. This is not what I coached you, blah, blah, blah. And basically slaps Punk, and Punk's like, you got to wake up, let me, and so, yeah, there's just this great quote with Punk, and basically he goes, before I was CM Punk, I was a punk rock kid from Chicago. Jon Moxley, let's go. This is Chicago, where the weak are killed and eaten. One pulse running through the streets of Chicago. Jon Moxley at All Out. You can break my bone. You can't break my bones. You can't drink my blood because we're in Chicago. And basically Punk signs the contract. He's in the crowd. The crowd goes wild. And Trent and I are just eating this up, man. It's just pure wrestling nirvana. It's great to see Punk out there. And it was just fun. It was a great time. If you're really into wrestling, it was dope. It was so much fun. So, but yeah, the 4-way match was awesome. We got to see a lot of great stuff. And then basically this trios matchup for setting up for the finale. And I mean, Omega and Young Bucks were just doing some killer stuff, man. It was just awesome. It's great to see that. And so yeah, it was that was a show. So that was Wednesday. And then they have this Friday show, which is Rampage. I mean, they got to see, Keith Lee was there, and they fight for the belts. And yeah, there was just like a lot of build up for the belts, or for basically really the pay-per-view. So Rampage is again, there was another trios matchup. You had Adam Page and Dark Order versus Freshly Squeezed, which is like Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Yeah, and so the winners would go to All Out, which was great. There was Ray Phoenix with versus Blake Christian. Great. There was just some really cool. Mark Henry sat down with Jade Cargill. Yeah, it was just a really good, another great match. So basically, that sets everything up for All Out. So you have Moxley versus CM Punk. You got Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. You got Swerve in our Glory versus Acclaim for the tag team. You got Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. You got Jade versus Athena. Trios, you got Paige and Dark Order versus the Elite, which is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Then you got the women's world tag, which is Storm and Baker versus Hayter and Shida. And then you got this kind of ladder match, which has a bunch of different people like Claudio, Wheeler, Yuta, Phoenix, Rush. I mean, there's just all these different people. You got Ricky Stark versus Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, Jay Lethal, all that fun stuff. So it's all set. I mean, it's just like there's so many different matches. I mean, it's crazy. So come Sunday, they do their thing. Everything's great. Looking good. Moxley and Punk close the show as any title batch does. Moxley is out ahead, cuts, Punk gets cut, all that fun stuff. But Punk comes out on top. And obviously in Chicago, he's the new champ, second time champ. Perfect. Fantastic. Everyone's happy. So this is where it gets real interesting. So if you're not familiar with wrestling terms, you got the baby face and the heel. The baby face is the good guy. The heel is the bad guy. And then you got a mark. And a mark is a smart wrestling fan, meaning like they know their stuff. And then there's this other term called a work, basically trying to make, that's where wrestling gets fun, is like the in-between of like reality versus scripted. It's like, it's a work. It's like, oh, is this real or is this fake? And that's where I think the most fun is. But so anyways, they call like a scrum or something, and basically they have a legit kind of, AEW has this kind of legit, like the press is there and they ask questions, and Punk just kind of goes off. He just kind of goes off and just like, there's these people that are EVPs, maybe basically elite, and he calls out Omega and the Young Bucks, like trying to throw trash around about his name and all that kind of stuff. And so when you're listening, it's like, wow, this is something serious, man. Like, he's throwing out some serious trash. But at the same time, the president of the company, Tony Khan, is sitting right there. He controls everything, and he's not saying boo. And I'm like, so I have another friend, Bobby, and shout out to Bobby. And I was like, dude, this is a total work. And he's like, yeah, it is. Because there's no way, we're both like, there's no way he would say all these things. And Tony Khan, if he wanted to kind of keep stuff private, he would say something, but like, bro, let's just, all right, next question or something like that. But he doesn't. He just let it play out. Well, there is drama after this, like real drama, and apparently there's some fist thrones and chairs thrown. So Ace Steel, which is Punk's trainer, who's the one that grabbed the contract on Wednesday, it's like him and Punk versus the Young Bucks and Omega, and it got ugly. So much so that a chair was thrown, blah, blah, blah. So come next week, so Wednesday, that was what, the 7th, yesterday, basically, because Young Bucks and Omega get the trios title, the first ever trios title, they strip them the titles, and they vacate the world champion. They vacate Punk title. So now they're going to have a tournament to decide both. And they had a trios matchup that night to decide it. But then they're doing a tournament for the world title. And Omega and Punk just came back from injury. And now they're out. And it looks like Punk's even injured. So there's all this backstage drama that was like coming out of that Friday, Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, and then by Wednesday, it all just blew up. So like a crazy week in wrestling. Now, again, I love Punk. He's one of my favorite guys. Trent got to see him at C2E2 last year. We saw him again at this C2. And he even waved to Trent. It was super cool. I love Punk. I mean, he's at Celebration. I mean, I love this guy. He's great. But sometimes I've heard, you hear things like sometimes he's difficult to work with, all that stuff. But then you got Omega and Young Bucks, and they've been pretty stable in AEW for a while. So something serious went down, and it's crazy. So now that has happened, and so I'm not even sure. And now there's even talk about like Punk being injured. It's crazy. The good thing is AEW's roster is so strong that, believe it or not, even though they would be missed, it's like it still would go on. But it is, I mean, Punk is awesome, and I hope they work it out. I hope it's not like the end all with Punk. But yeah, that was just like literally a week in wrestling. It's crazy, great. If you're not checking out AEW, definitely check it out. It's awesome. It's great stuff. So yeah, that is wrestling right there. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. And again, like Trent and I just had the most amazing time. It was great. And again, once again, thanks Joe so much for those tickets. Okay. Book of Boba Fett wins Creative Arts Emmy for Outstanding Special Effects. What? So, again, this show had crossovers with, Mandalorian and, Mando was in there. But, visual effects company, you know them, Industrial Lights and Magic. They win the Emmy for, and it's like so cool. So how about that? That is, I mean, it is for TV. I mean, we're just at a level of like excellence, and it's so amazing. Too bad the show wasn't the best, but the special effects were pretty cool. Again, I think a little too much volume, but that's just me. But yeah, it's still, I mean, we're with the day and age we are, we're just, it's so crazy. It's so cool. And it just even gets me more and more excited for Andor, because Andor is not using a volume, and it's going to be just lit. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. So there you have it. Pretty cool stuff. Can't believe that we finally get, you know, it's always good when Star Wars gets recognized. It's awesome. And as Boba Fett, I just wish the series was a little bit better. That's all. You know, no big deal. Okay, so we've been doing this for a while. What's happening when? We're on episode 116, so that means we're looking at 2016. What happened in 2016? I'll tell you what happened. In January, we got the hardcover novelization of The Force Awakens. Very cool stuff. Let's see. What else happens here? Words stuff. We got Lego Star Wars Complete Saga coming to the Android devices. What the heck? Adventures in Wild Space is happening. We got Kanan and Chewbacca are hitting it in the comics. What else is going on here? Poe Dameron comic. We got all kinds of stuff coming out. Post Force Awakens. Bloodline was published in May 3rd. Very, very cool. That's a great book about Princess Leia. I would highly recommend that. If you like to hear a little bit more about the past and how she's dealing with Darth Vader being her father, all that kind of stuff, check out Bloodline. It's awesome. Han Solo is another comic that comes out. They're really getting deep into comics. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens comes out in June. Great game. Great fun game. That's super awesome. I would definitely check that out. It's a fun, any Lego stuff is fun. That was a great game. Let's see what else is going on here. Darth Vader is hot. 2015 Darth Vader is just a great book. It's just a great series. Star Wars Rebels is in its third season. That gets released. This is another, I love this book. In October, Star Wars Propaganda, The History of Persuasive Art in the Galaxy. Must have. Love that book. Check that out. That's a great book. November, another amazing book. If you like Rogue One, got to check out Star Wars Catalyst, James Luceno. Oof, he did the novelization for Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorite novelizations. Catalyst is a must read. Get out there, listen to that. Super sad news in December. Carrie Fisher passes away at the age of 60. And then the other weird thing is, like, her mom dies the next day. It's crazy how that happens. Yeah, it's so sad. That one hurts. That one hurt a lot. I mean, again, people, I hate to say be callous, but, people die every day. But, like, when certain celebrities die and, they have that kind of impact, yeah, Carrie's one of those people. She was just a light, and you could tell, too, that she was having so much fun with getting back into Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, just so unfortunate that happened. And so we have that. And then, Rogue One comes out in December, yo. Talked about this last episode, but, Rogue One definitely a game changer and so fun to just be part of that experience and all that fun stuff. It was great. It was great. I mean, it's a great movie. It was great seeing it IMAX the other week. And I would just, I can't say this enough. Andor. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. So definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, Rogue One comes out in 2016 in December there. Fantastic movie. And I can't believe it's been a couple years since that has happened. But yeah, there it is, Rogue One. And then, of course, like The Art of Rogue One comes out. That book came out. Soundtracks released, all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's great. So 2016, not too shabby of a year. Again, you're just literally, we got back-to-back Star Wars for the first time in forever. Super, super cool. So, yeah. So, there you have it. Less than 2 weeks away from Andor. Just if you're keeping tally, less than 2 weeks. Can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. Football has started. Hello. Fall is here. We got football starting. It's gonna be my birthday. So always love September. It's going to be great. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Looking forward to see some more Rings of Power. Trent and I watched the first episode of She-Hulk. We haven't got back to that. So we're going to try to do that as well. There's just so much content. Disney Plus Day was today. What? The Obi-Wan behind the scenes thing is here. There's so much content coming. I don't know. I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. Did they announce Bad Batch yet? Because that's the biggest thing I was wondering about. Is when is that happening? That's so weird. Yeah, I don't know. This was 11 hours ago. So, is this true? But is it real? It's coming from direct.com. Let's see what it says. Blah, blah, blah. Rumor for January 2023. January 4th, 2023. I'm really surprised they haven't announced this on Disney Plus Day. I mean, Thor was released today. Yeah, they got to jump that. Maybe they're waiting for D23. I don't know. It's on Disney Plus. This is where it gets weird. Why don't they just say it? Whatever. Okay. Well, that's coming up. I mean, again, football, Andor, birthday. It's all coming together, man. It's going to be great. So, thanks again, Space Wizards, Plastic Six Men, and Rebel Princes for listening to another episode of Big T and Little T. You can find us on the socials, Big T, Little T Podcast, IG, BLILT Podcast on Twitter, and then again, twitch.tv/Big T, Little T. That's where you're going to find us. You're going to find Trent and I and Ellie having fun playing Fortnite. We're loving that stuff, so check us out there. Try to stream mostly on the weekends, but yeah, we try to squeeze some in every once in a while, so we're having fun doing that. Hey, we got stickers, pins, all kinds of stuff. We don't hear from you, so comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and rate us and show us that. Email us at bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. We would love to send some swag your face. Drop us a question. What are you excited about for Andor? Drop us your what you're excited for, and we would love to read that on the next company episode, and it's going to be awesome. So, we're getting so close to Andor, so let's do this. We'll bring in some updates on that as that comes out. Again, now truly wonderful the mind of the child is, and may the force be with you always. Bye, 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 bye. See you later. Bye, bye, bye.
It took me 10 years to make the perfect man cave.
And then we took it over. And we made it into the multiversal chamber.
Then I started my own podcast.
And we took that over too. And we're the co-hosts, the Multiverse Kids.
Yeah, and I'm the dad, the geeky dad. And every week, what?
We review the movies, shows, and books, games, and toys.
Yeah, and sometimes we even have a special guest. So, join us every week on the Geeky Dad Podcast.
Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a little high, a little high. Let's do that. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go.